We got next the final award.
Da-na-na-na.
Final award of the 2020.
That is going to sound like a big mush of white noise.
It might. It might. Or it might sound grandiose. Because, of course...
that's what we're going for.
You know, we all listen to rap, man. We all listen to rap. That's probably the primary genre that we all listen to. So we're going to close out the 2020 TNV Awards with our top 5 rap albums of the year. Now...
As we all know, Harris don't follow rules.
Clearly I don't, right?
He does get 5, he gets 10.
I always have a ton of honorable mentions, and this year is absolutely no different. Do you have honorable mentions?
It's because of Harris we started on because when I first started this, my thing was like, we stick to the rules. The whole point is the rules are the rules, and you have to limit yourself to that. And then Harris came with like 20 honorable mentions.
In fact, it's funny because I have not only do I have honorable mentions, but my top 5 rap albums has 6 albums on there.
Last year it was 8. Last year it was 8.
My top 5 albums has 6.
Last year you had 10 honorable mentions and 8 top albums. And we're just like.
Rap albums. Where's my list? Okay, blah 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 blah.
How many honorable mentions do you have?
I got a couple. Not too many to be honest. I got Dark Lane demo tapes.
Yeah, just run it down because I'm not going to go into mine either.
Yeah, Toby Elements. I think that's it. Okay, yeah, that's it.
I'll go next. I have Allegory by Royster 5'9". Dark Lane demo tapes by Drake. Even my throwaway shit is better than your whatever shit. Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. This was hard to kick out of my top 5. And if I did have a top 6, it would have made it.
Not mad at that. Could have done what I did.
I follow the rules. Barnacles by Sababy. It's just a vibe for me. I like Sababy. That may be a little biased there. Actually, next few might be a little biased, but hey, fuck you, it's me. Legends Never Die by Juice WRLD. I don't like Postmortem albums, but Postmortem, was that right?
Yeah.
But I feel like
we're thinking about the other word, posthumous.
Yeah.
Postmortem is also correct.
I feel like they did justice with this album. It's not my favorite, but for not having Juice WRLD's take on this, I felt it did it justice.
Yeah.
And last one is Never Forget Made in Tokyo. I like Made in Tokyo's vibe. He has me chilling, so this album was good, and it had Wiz Khalifa by your verse.
Jeez, what a way to bring that back, right? Okay, my honorable mentions. I got Big Conspiracy by J Hus. Definitely on my list. You'll notice that my honorable mentions are going to be a lot of early albums, right? Yeah. These are just albums that I almost want to say pre-pandemic at this point.
Actually, all of them are.
Black Habits by D Smoke.
Pre-pandemic? That was February 14th, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Better by Deontay Hitchcock.
That was
pre-pandemic.
February as well.
Right. I have King's Disease by Nas. I think that was a super quality album that would definitely make a top 10 list of mine, but just not a top 5.
Not top 6.
Not exactly rap, but I'm still going to put it there for the sake of hip-hop, right? So maybe top 5 hip-hop albums of the year. I'm going to include While the World Burns by St. John.
Okay.
That was a...
Definitely.
That was an album.
And honorable mention for me, for sure, I could not keep this one out. The Sharecropper's Daughter by Ciroc the MC. Probably one of the highest level of lyricism we've seen this year from an album.
Okay.
Please go listen to that. The Sharecropper's Daughter, Ciroc the MC.
Word.
Let's get into our list though. Now you guys all have top 5s. Yes. I have 6. So I'm gonna start with number 6.
So number 6.
I'm gonna start with number 6. Now again, I don't need to explain this, but I'm gonna go with Director's Cut Scene 3 by Ransom.
Okay.
Again, high level rapping. Enough said. Go listen to that. You're sleeping if you don't.
Just to bring this back full circle, 2018, you said the rapper to watch out for in 2019, or the artist to watch out for in 2019 was Reason. Just so you know.
No,
you
I said Reason. I'm talking Ransom.
Oh, Ransom.
I get what you mean, though. I was like, hold on. I was so close. I was like, did I say Ransom?
Oh, damn.
Damn, I almost wanted to put Reason on my underwhelming album. but then I heard his Reason, and I was like, well,
that makes sense.
Oh, let me get myself that. That was accidental.
Yeah. I just took that in. I just took it slow.
Cheeky. That was cheeky. All right, man. So top 5. Let's call it top 5 hip hop albums.
Yeah, I actually meant to write hip hop on this, and it is.
Yeah, and I meant to say hip hop. I don't know why I said rap. Top 5 hip hop albums of the year. I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, at this point, probably some of these albums don't need as much explanation unless we haven't mentioned them before. But number 5, I'm gonna go with "My Turn" by Lil Baby.
Yep.
Spoke about him as my MVP. Enough said. But believe it or not, MVP gets you top 5, number 5 on my rap albums of the year or my hip hop albums of the year list. So yeah, I'm going Lil Baby. "My Turn."
I'll go next. My number 5 actually,
Shit.
believe it or not, was number 5. I did not see your list when I was making my list. I actually did mine so completely different just to make sure I don't have any bias.
Yeah, I never look at yours. But you didn't say what your number 5 was. You said my number 5 is number 5.
My number 5 is "My Turn."
5? This guy rates Mambo number 5 like that, bro. Are you kidding me, bro?
"My Turn" by Lil Baby. Like we've said, he had a fire year. The album was fire at the end of it. At the end of the year, I was bumping it again recently, and it still is hard. Like he has himself different. He has himself apart from everyone else in his class, and this album was part of what makes him different.
100%.
All right,
Dylan.
My number 5 album is "Burden of Proof."
Okay, I like that.
I'm not mad at that pick.
It didn't make my honorable mention, but it was so close to making it.
It would have been like a top 15 list for me if I was to extend it.
It's gonna go. The top 25 list was at this album. Okay, why "Burden of Proof"? Dill Dots.
It was good. Like honestly, like I had a lot, like very, very high expectations for this album, and it was almost at the expectations I had for it. So that's why it's number 5.
Yeah, fair enough.
Simple. Sometimes it's that simple. All right, man. So let's move on to number 4. My number 4 hip hop album of the year, "Alfredo" by Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist.
That's an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, honorable mention for me too.
Yeah, so I'm definitely including that on my list. I think Freddie Gibbs was an MVP candidate this year. Was. I think that this is his 2nd or 3rd year in a row of doing this, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And, I mean, I have Alchemist on my Rushmore of producers, personally. He's always been there. So, when you get both of them together, it's going to be fire.
Yeah,
and I think this album performed. I think this album got the correct acclaim that it should have. Complex hip hop likes it. if you know, you know. That audience likes this album a lot too, and I think that helps to push it and give it some extra flavor.
It does.
But Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs, man, I think that was a super quality album, top to bottom. It's an album experience. It's Alchemist. Enough said.
I like that. I like that. Alfredo, like we said, was both in me and Dylan's honorable mention. My number 4 was "Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon" by Pop Smoke. Again, 2 posthumous albums in one. I just can say it wrong.
Postmortem, I think you
I used Postmortem last time. In one list for me is really rare, but I felt like it brought New York drill to the map. Yeah. It put it on the map, and Pop Smoke made it fun to listen to. Like even though it was heavy with features, he didn't sound out of place with any of the features. And I felt like this album, even for him not being involved, was really, really good. And yeah, it just showed us what he had and what we were missing out on and what we are never going to see. So shout out to Pop Smoke.
Definitely. Rest
so
in peace.
We're on number 4.
Numero 4.
So for me, it's "My Turn."
My Turn made top 5 for everyone. Shout out to
yeah, because like in terms of like rapping, like the thing is like Lil Baby raps. Like if you really listen to what he's saying, like he can raps, he can actually rap. So I have to put it up here with the rappers.
He has a pen.
I can't deny him.
Agreed.
And that's what we were saying by saying stuff from Gunna. Like Gunna doesn't rap. Like Gunna has a vibe. Gunna has a flow.
Gunna would have been an underwhelming album as well.
See, I had low expectations for it already, so it really did underwhelm.
It whelmed.
I used to like Gunna more than Baby.
Me too.
At the top of the year,
everyone thought Gunna was like better than Baby, but you realize
thought it was Tierra Marie and Rihanna.
And then Rihanna, you just see like that person sets themselves apart. It happens. Tierra Marie.
I remember when they gave Tierra Marie the better single.
That was wild.
Oh my god.
It be like that sometimes.
I want a patty, yo.
Damn.
I can fuck a patty.
Yo, go to Randy's right now.
How does mad far?
Oh man. Number 3, top hip hop album of the year. I'm gonna go with "Pray for Paris" by Westside Gunn. I think of the albums that he released this year, this one is the best quality in my opinion. I think that it has the truest album feel of what he has come out with. And I mean, again, I've mentioned this many times. West Side Gun is my third favorite member of Griselda, right? So I've mentioned that several times, and this album to me, I was like, whoa, I'm into this. This is way better than I thought it was. So this is one of those instances where I was sort of realizing West Side Gun's excellence as an executive at the time of listening to this, at the time of being over impressed with the actual music itself. And I was just like, damn, okay, this guy's really MVP. And that's kind of when I made that decision in that moment. So I have to put the album that kind of brought me to that place. So definitely Pray for Paris by West Side Gun.
Interesting.
That's going to be number 3 on my list.
Interesting.
Okay.
Like, I remember saying earlier that I thought Pray for Paris was better than Burden of Proof. But, like, once I did my revisiting, I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Burden of Proof is better. Jeez.
Yeah. So we're on number 3?
Number 3, yes.
I got Written Testimony by Jay Electronica. And I'm going to say Jay Electronica and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Because, But basically, like, fuck, it was really tough. Like, when it gets, like, the level, like 3, 2, and 1, it's like, this album could have been number 1, to be honest, for me. Jay Electronica was, like, the shit that he was rapping about, the content in the raps, the production, like, the grittiness, the unmixed, unmastered sort of feel, the element of it was very, very hip-hop to me. So, like, I had to put it in my top rap albums of this year.
Okay. My number 3 album, believe it or not, it's going to take a little bit to understand, but it's Lil Uzi's Eternal Take. But, let me finish, the deluxe part, the Love versus Rage, Love versus the World 2.
Yes.
That part came out like a week after.
That part was significantly better.
It added 14 tracks to the album, and this had the Uzi we like. The Uzi with features with like 21 Savage, Gunna, Young Thug, Nav, Lil Durk, speaking of Lil Durk, Young Nudie, Chief Keef, and this is why Lil Uzi was on my top artist of the year, was because of this part of his album, and that is the Eternal Take Deluxe version. The deluxe part, it's not even say the version, the deluxe part only, which is 14 tracks, and he also called it Love vs. the World 2, so it was almost like a mixtape. And Love vs. the World was one of...
And it's almost like you can just say, well, that's one of my... You know what I mean? Like, it's almost to that point, because it is almost intentionally that different.
Yeah. On Spotify, it separates out the album and that part completely, so that is my number 3 album of the year, because I do like Lil Uzi, and I do think he is the leader in this new style.
Okay.
That makes sense. Okay.
Let's move on then to number 2.
What you got?
Number 2 hip hop album of the year for 2020. Welcome to the TNV Awards. You know what I'm saying? TNV Awards. We're here. My number 2 is A Written Testimony by Jay Electronica and Jay-Z, of course. Well, I mean, for many reasons. First of all, the level of hope that we get on that is not a level to sleep on. Right? I remember, I think it was earlier this year or maybe last year, it was mentioned on the Joe Budden podcast, and almost jokingly, that there was a conversation with Jay-Z very recently where he said, yo, I think I'm getting sharper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you might be.
And I thought about that ever since, because he came out with like the What's Free verse and things like that. And we know Jay-Z to be Jay-Z at the end of the day. But for him to be on an album almost as much as he was on like Watch the Throne, almost as much as he was on like the Carters type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Like a collab album.
That alone makes it a top album.
No, you're right.
You got Hove.
Yeah, facts.
You got high level Hove.
Like, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Really, really high level Hove.
Outside of that, Jay Electronica, like you said, a lot of the things that he's saying on here are things that fit into just what my personal style of hip hop is.
Yeah.
I prefer the Lupe Fiasco type of hip hop.
Got you.
Where you guys heard what was going on in Chatty House with recording bars.
Yeah.
Just the thought that goes behind it. Whether you feel it's fire or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Mind you, if it's overly nerdy, then it's overly nerdy.
It is.
But when you kind of just hear it and you're like, yo, there's so many different layers and directions. I almost have to study your work.
Yeah.
I almost have to study it like it's journalism or something like that.
I like that shit.
So, that's the type of stuff that I like, because that's the type of stuff Jay-Z does it, Jay Electronica does it, Lupe Fiasco does it, a few other artists that do it as well, where you almost find new bars and meanings every single time you listen to it.
Yep.
And also something that just I personally like, I've always liked this type of hip hop. I love hip hop that is engineered like garbage.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I don't know why I love it so
produced,
much. I think it
mixed and
reminds me of
mastered.
like 88.1 radio.
Yeah,
I think it reminds me of like
raw hip
hop.
mixtapes. Like
It's mixtapes.
it brings me back to that gritty
I
feel.
hate that. I like polished.
I love
music.
it. I hate polished music. I fucking hate polished music. I don't know what it is.
I think that's why I hate Jack Harlow.
His name is Jack Harlow?
No, that's why I hate Jack Harlow.
No, I was forgetting his name. I thought it was name. I'm like, isn't it James Harlow?
It's Tyler Hero.
It's Tyler Hero.
One day I wanted to listen to him or something, and I was like, "Yo, what's his name?" Tyler Hero. I'm like, "No,
Oh my
that's the
God.
NBA player." I'm like, "Yo, Tyler Hero's the name of the song."
Tyler Hero probably has bars too. Shit.
Oh man,
He says he does. I was listening to him on
like, that's cap.
I was listening to him on JJ Redick's podcast, and he was like, he has bars like he would never release
God.
it.
Keep
like
it,
he's
please.
recorded songs when he was
Is
in
this keep
school.
it or leak it? Keep it.
Keep it though. Yeah, that's what I mean. Keep it. Like don't release it.
Shit. So yeah,
Oye, Italia
my
Santos.
number 2 hip hop album of the year, A Written Testimony, J Electronica.
Jeez.
That's number 2, yeah?
Number
Yes, sir.
Okay, number 2 for Dill. I'm going to have to go with Detroit 2.
I'm not mad at that
Nah.
at all.
That didn't make my,
Fam,
any of my
Almost
cuts.
made honorable mention.
It almost did too.
Bam. This is... Big Sean is rapping on this album.
And that's I need to go back and give it some few
like
more
the same
spins.
reasons why I
not
like Jay
spinning it
Electronica's
enough.
album because of the things that he's saying on it. Big Sean is doing that, but he's doing it from the like it's very, very introspective. Like talking about his depression, talking about certain things he goes through. The Nipsey verse was absolutely
Fire.
crazy. Fuck, what is it? Fuck rap. I'm a street legend. Oh man,
That record.
Oh,
You know what I
man.
can give a comparison to in terms of not even necessarily finding their sound, but growing in their sound.
growth.
Big Sean is hip hop's Kalani.
Very close. I could
know what I'm
almost
saying?
agree with that.
I can see parallels there in terms
Yeah.
of like, whoa, they've evolved as a person,
As a
Yeah.
person,
making their music that
Sounds
much better.
And
yeah.
like being able to put that into the music and make it sound good at the same time is a skill in itself.
Definitely. I'm not mad
Shout
at
out
that
to Big
at all.
Sean, Detroit too.
My number 2 album of the year is The GOAT by Polo G. I listened to Polo G's first album and I thought it was trash. I won't even lie to you. I thought it was trash. And so when this album came out, I heard about it and I was like, it's Polo G. Like, I've heard him on a few features. He's alright. And as I listened to this more and more, it grew on me more and more. It was a point where I was listening to it almost every day.
Yeah.
I really like this album. I feel like he has a sound that, even though it does sound generic, actually does not sound generic. His sound does not sound generic because he has like his instrumentals are a lot like live instrumentals. You hear a lot of guitars in his instrument, a lot of pianos, not just synths. He doesn't auto-tune his voice, and like for his age, I feel like he can write a lot better than a lot of people his age. And he writes real about shit he lived about. He's not capping on his records. He's not even talking about shooting people. I thought he's talking about him not wanting to shoot people. Him talking about people's feelings and him understanding where people are coming from when they get mad and they want to do something irresponsible. He talks about that. He's like, oh yeah, if you do this, then it may understand why that guy wants to do this. So I don't know. I just think he's an up and comer that you need to watch out for. Polo G, the GOAT, number 2 album of the year.
Shout out Polo G.
I got a random sidebar. You know what? It was a real enjoyable album that makes nothing on this list and will never make anything on this list.
What was it?
Savage Mode 2 by Tony.
No, I had
I
it.
dead ass was thinking that,
But
but
I-
I don't know where to put it.
I had it too. I'm like, it doesn't fit any of my list. Like,
No,
it's
I
not
love-
a top album. But I really
love
liked
that.
it.
I love that.
Honestly,
album, bro.
Pussy.
You know what? Next year I'm gonna have a category that says albums I enjoyed. You just simply
I would
enjoyed
play
it.
enjoyed. Shout
Because there's
out
some
to-
albums I enjoyed, but I don't think they were top
I
albums.
really enjoyed that album.
Like Mini Tokyo's
That
album, I don't
was
think it was a top album, but like
yeah,
I
we
wanted
gotta
to
have
put
just
it
like
there.
an enjoyable,
Like,
not
I
even a
just-
list, just
Just
freestyle some albums you
yeah,
enjoy.
just enjoy
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Next
we'll work
year.
on that.
Shout out 21 Savage, bro. That album's fire.
yeah, but that album was good. Yeah, I like how you said that. 'Cause
Yeah, it just didn't fit
it
anywhere.
was a good album. It just wasn't like a top album.
All right, that was a nice little, teaser to
For
our
the
number
best
1. So
album.
let's get into our number 1
what you got?
top
What you got?
hip
What you
hop
got?
project of the year. I'm gonna give that to Mick Jenkins.
Ooh.
The Circus.
Okay.
The Circus by Mick Jenkins. And I have to first start by saying it was my most played hip-hop album.
Okay.
It was the one album I referred to when I said to myself, I have a 30-minute drive. What do I feel like putting on? It was an album where I said to myself, I can pick out 2-3 records. You know, sometimes you go to an album only, like sometimes you go to Lil Baby's album only for My Turn and better, and Bigger Picture.
Bigger Picture.
Right?
I like the 42 Ducks song.
Or exactly, you know what I'm saying? I was listening to the 42
Who, by
Ducks.
the way, almost made my feature artist, 42 Doug. Because I thought he was firing all his features.
At all. But yeah, you know, I can go to it for 2 or 3 records, whether it's Earth, or the Earth Gang record, or whether it's the first record, Carefree, or different things like that.
Yeah.
Or I can go to it for the full album listen, right? And I think that this album, to me, there's just literally no skips on it. I think Mick Jenkins as an artist, again, he fits in the style of artist that I like. I spoke about the more, lack of better word, advanced part of it from a lyrical perspective or for what goes into the lyrics. But I think Mick Jenkins more so represents the instrumentation. He uses a lot of jazz elements in his music, and as well as he's a poet.
Yeah.
So you know,
right? So it's not just about bars, but it's also about how the words flow with one another and intentionally. Again, you heard Lupe Fiasco talk about it. Sometimes it's not the choice of words. Sometimes it's the choice of tone, right? And I think, you know, Mick Jenkins does that as an artist specifically in his entire catalog, but also in this album specifically. So, you know, the Circus, Mick Jenkins, like I said. No skips on that. Same old as it bangs. Carefree bangs. The Light bangs. Flaunt bangs. Everything bangs on this thing. It's short. It's sweet. It's only 7 songs. It's 20 minutes. And that represents the top hip hop album of the year for me. I'm giving it to Mick motherfucking Jenkins, The Circus.
It's not a bad pick at all. For me,
Caramel God.
The Caramel God. Dill Dot,
Fly
the
God.
podcast K Dot.
Fly God.
I'm gonna have to go with Streams of Thought. Hands down.
I like that.
When it comes to rappers,
yeah,
nobody's rapping better than Black Thought this year.
That's actually a good pick.
I not only did I want that in my top 5.
Yeah.
I also really wanted that in honorable, but I just didn't want to give so many honorables.
It's one of those albums I enjoy. That's why I'm just got albums I enjoyed and just go.
Believe it or not, could be number 1.
It could be,
and it's definitely
you know
number
what
1
Streams
for me.
of Thought is? Okay, I have the perfect comparison to Streams of Thought. Fantasy Basketball 2020. Before the season is over, somebody who drafted Kevin Durant.
Right at the end of the year.
Streams of Thought, because it could be number 12. But it could perform at number 1, and that's what to me. That's what it is. So when you say Streams of Thought number 1, I'm like, I agree.
I get it.
Yeah,
but yet it didn't make my top 5. It didn't make my top 6. It didn't make my honorable mentions. But I can agree with that.
There's so much hip hop that came out there, so it's so hard to just narrow it down to 5 albums. And it comes down to how you feel at that time.
That's the thing.
I can possibly put The Allegory at number 1. To be honest,
exactly.
And then tomorrow it's not there,
and it's not going to be there tomorrow. You know what I mean? But Streams of Thought is probably the most consistent hip hop album that I listened to this year. From just the raps, Streams of Thought with raps without any hooks or any features, to having the features and having one of the best Pusha T verses that I heard this year. What else? The other shit though, with Portugal the Man.
The Portugal the Man, yep.
Those shits were fire too. So that's the most complete album. So you got raps, you got songs.
I think I would have put Portugal on my non-rap hip hop in that case. They came out with solid. What didn't come out with Woodstock this year? What's it called? Portugal the Man.
Portugal the Man.
What did they come out with this year?
I'm not sure.
Fuck.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Anyways, I'm tripping.
But yeah. Shout out to Black Thought, number 1 album.
I'm not mad at that at all.
All right, my number 1 album, Just Shola's number 1 album of the year 2020 is the recently released Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon.
Wasn't lying.
3, The Chosen. Of course I wasn't lying.
If you listen to episode 134,
Go
listen
back
to the end of the Kid Cudi review to see what Shola said.
Honestly, Man on the Moon 1, I've always thought was one of my favorite albums. It's up there. This is the continuation of Man on the Moon 2, not 1, but I just like where he's coming from on this. The fact that I understand the theme No, I'm not saying anyone else doesn't, but I understood where he was coming from when it started.
Right away.
And all that stuff. Like I understood where he was going from. Each song, I can get where he's going to or what he's trying to deliver. Like I feel like I connected to this in a way that I connected to Man on the Moon 1. And it's just one of those albums that I'm going to listen to for the next few years.
Yeah.
And further to your point, so again, I was, I think before we recorded, I was talking about Lupe Fiasco the Cool coming up with his 13th year anniversary. Obviously, they kind of came out around the same time, right? I feel like that's when you're starting to develop your own personal taste for music.
Exactly.
13 years ago, I would have been 15, 16 at the time.
Yeah.
You're kind of coming into your own in terms of, no, this is my opinion.
This is what I like.
What the kids are going
Exactly.
with. This is not, there's almost less social choice in how you make your music choices.
Yeah.
So Cuddy's gonna forever be cemented as one of those artists.
Exactly.
Lupe is forever cemented as one of those artists for me. Someone who's a little bit younger than I am would cement Travis Scott in there.
Exactly.
Or whoever they're Young Thug or Future or you know what I mean.
Whoever they related to at that point.
Definitely, I can see that for sure.
So shout out to.
I like that. That's a good comparison because a lot of this shit comes from Lupe, and what comes from Lupe might come from Cuddy as well, and what comes from Cuddy. Like the Travis, like so that's like the lineage of it, sort of thing. You know,
listening to this Kid Cudi album, I'm taking me back like all these guys got their styles from Kid Cudi.
Yeah,
the king of alternative hip hop. Like sometimes like it's not even rap. He's doing his thing, but
St. John was on my thing list.
Yeah,
my
exactly,
rap albums
exactly.
List, right? Or my which album? Where did I put him?
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention. Sorry.
Yeah, top rap album. Honorable mention.
Yeah.
St. John is Kid Cudi.
Yeah, they rap over different beats. Some
same artist.
Electronic beats, some rap beats, some drill beats. So shout out to them, man.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all, man.
I like everyone's list.
That was a real quality. I feel like we went quality across the board.
We did.
Holy, I feel like we covered a few unique perspectives.
I did a lot better than I thought I would.
Me too. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too.
It was really
I didn't
fucking
have my
hard.
shit ready to this morning.
This morning I was finalizing my stuff.
The only thing I had ready yesterday was R&B. And then I was like,
R&B was probably
like,
time. Yeah, I got that one done the quickest.
Yeah, R&B was.
So.
I was on it. I was on it this year. But everything else I was like, fuck. Do I love? It's like a fantasy draft you didn't prepare for. Do I love this?
I know, right? It's like I'm thinking about this. Like,
and then the draft happened, and I'm like, okay.
Okay, that's like how when I put in my thing, I'm like, you know what? I look at my list. I'm happy with my list.
Final answer.
Yes.
Final answer. Yeah. So.